I have been into the Jon Jones experiment. I feel like I've been open about that with you guys. Right? I was into the whole thing. I didn't like how we got there. I didn't like how we tried to not only blow up a bridge between ourselves and the UFC and talking about Jones, put C4 all over, just didn't know how to detonate it. I didn't love all of the reasons that he left and leaving a division. Man, that division is still not put back together. Jamal is the champion of that division. And we don't even know who the number one contender is, and I'm only sharing for you. It's bad. It can be bad when you leave a division behind. It can be. So, while I wasn't crazy about that, I've got to tell you, the rest of it's been pretty cool. Jon Jones believing he needs to weigh 240 pounds before he can compete in the heavyweight division. Jon Jones wanting to go to the heavyweight division and only fight world champions. I mean, not for nothing, but that's changed 3 times. You got to give Jon a little bit of credit for that. The day that Jon took his ball and went home, Stipe was champion, just so you guys remember. Along the way, Stipe lost it to Ngannou. Along the way, Ngannou lost it to a pen and a piece of paper. Oh, we don't even have a champion right now, do we? Oh, it's undisputed. Okay, see, I was going to say that Ciryl was the champion. But I think that you see my point. Jon's been very consistent, saying I need to weigh this much and I'll fight anyone that's a heavyweight. Well, I mean, that's a moving target. If you're talking about pure size and you're saying that number actually matters, you would understand where Jon would say, yeah, I'll weigh 215 and fight Stipe, who weighs 230, but I got to weigh 250 if I'm going to fight France. I mean, you would see where Jon would talk that way, but he never did. He never did. Said that I have a number I believe I need to be, and at that number, I believe I can beat anybody in the world at heavyweight. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that number, and then I will fight anyone in the world at heavyweight. And you do have to give Jon that credit. Jon is not fighting Francis because Jon refused to fight Francis. That just didn't work out. He agreed to fight Francis, just to remind you. Stipe Miocic, absolutely. Jon was prepared to fight him. Says that if he beats Ciryl, he's prepared to fight Stipe later on in the year. I'm just sharing with you. Don't forget. If you want to give Jon a hard time, you still got to make sure that you give him credit where credit's due. Now, the thing about Jon, right? There's things that you could do if you were the heel, and it would be celebrated, it would be on brand, and it would be fun. But if you do those exact same things while representing yourself as a babyface, you will then be teased and you will look like a doofus. So Jon has come out. Now, this is great heel work right here. I mean, this is a heel at his finest. Jon came out and said, a win over Ciryl Gane solidifies that he is the greatest fighter of all time. Now, that is an angle that he could run to hell and back. He could do the car wash at ESPN. He could call into the Jim Rome show, pop over, get a Zoom link set up and do Le Batard. He could do all of the media in one day just with that angle. Because that is going to create, so what are you possibly talking about that you beating a kickboxer who's 1-1 in his last 2? How does that possibly mean? There is no meaningful heavyweight that hasn't either had a wrestling match or has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Oh, wait, except for the one that you found. And beating him solidifies you're the greatest ever. That is a heel move, and it is awesome. And he should never come off of it. I mean, it is absolute gold to the point where you could see Ciryl being the one to back down from it. Go, well, I don't know that I'm quite as good as he thinks I am, but I should do appreciate that. Like you could see where this would get really weird, really fast. And it would be really funny. It'd be really entertaining. The problem is he's not joking. He's not hustling. He's not trying to maneuver. So when he comes out and says, beating Ciryl solidifies that I'm the greatest ever. Problem that Jon has had and will always have for greatest ever is that he's never understood there's nothing you can do physically to accomplish that moniker. It has to be done emotionally with the people, the pundits, the writers, and the audience that get together for group thought to make the statement in the first place. would not matter if you had 50 knockouts, all in the first round. There's nothing that can earn you the title of greatest ever besides emotion and popularity, of which you're generally going to get by going out there and having some really successful moments, but they don't go together. That's just the part that Jon misses. You could be the heavyweight champion, sure. Just go beat this guy. March 4th, they'll hand you the belt. It's a different category when you talk about the greatest ever. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's a different category, and he doesn't understand that. And I just think there's some real opportunity, but you got to pick, right? You have to be the one to tell the audience whether you're the good guy or the bad guy, and then you stick to the script, right? If you're the good guy, come out and do good guy things. If you're the bad guy, come out and do bad guy things. Don't come out and say I'm the good guy and then do bad guy things. It doesn't work, right? It's the same problem that Shevchenko is having right now. She doesn't understand. She wants to, she just wants you doting on her so much. She's a world champion who's a co-main eventer because she's not over with the audience. The audience doesn't want to see her fight. They don't want to see her fight because she's in the wrong role. Think of your favorite prison movie. Just think of it. Whatever you want to do. Okay, now think of that bad guy. Think of the bad guy behind the bars with the number on his chest. And imagine that they do the same movie, but he switches with the character that played the sheriff and put him there in the first place. Do you see how it doesn't work? Do you see how that movie, you don't get it now? It had to be typecast. Do you see where these things start to be important? Good guys got to be the good guys, the bad guys got to be the bad guys. You tell us who you are, and then you come out with your information. Claiming that if you beat Ciryl Gane, the greatest fighter, there's one heavyweight. There's one heavyweight who's never had a wrestling match and who doesn't have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's him. It's the one you're fighting.